Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. You will be seeing this on Wednesday the 5th. I'm recording it on the 4th in the afternoon. Okay, so just for anybody who's curious, it is still cold, cold, cold out here in central Alberta. Okay, so a couple of things. I'm going to try to keep this video short. I think we're being inundated with so much information. I want to keep these things sort of short and concise. So I got to learn to stop rambling. Anyways, let's get started. Okay, so the tariffs have been delayed by 30 days for both Mexico and Canada. Mexico gave Trump exactly what they had already done under I think it was the Obama or the Biden administration. And Canada gave Trump exactly what had been negotiated in December with Biden. So this is just power tripping. Okay. Danielle Smith, by the way, says we need to negotiate. We did negotiate, and she needs to be quiet. She is the premier of Alberta, and she needs to stop doing the I'm standing with Canada unless I can stand with Trump dance. It's getting a little frustrating. As far as the tariff goes and the reaction to that, as near as I can figure here in Canada, this is not going to be a case of forgive and forget. Canada, most Canadians, I think, are still focusing on buying Canada products and are not particularly interested in just thinking that this was, Trump being Trump. So we'll see how that ultimately plays out. I think Trump got a rude awakening when people just didn't, one, buckle, and two, the stock market had issues. So he was able to send out an announcement saying that all these countries buckled, and he's as tough can be, and everybody just bends the knee to him. And you know what? If that's what he wants to delude himself into believing, and if that's what he wants to delude Republicans and others into believing, so be it. The fact remains that his fun and games and his nonsense is going to start wearing thin with the American people, and frankly, with the globe. Okay, it's the kind of energy that he is spewing out. Aside from people who frankly have very aggressive, angry energy already, for everybody else, they're kind of like, this needs to stop already. It's exhausting. We shall see. As of right now, the Musk has keys to the kingdom. That's just basically the bottom line. He has keys to the Treasury Department. They figured out how to get into the system, from what I understand. He has very young people working for him, doing that work, and they have ties or have certainly posted things that are supportive of neo-Nazi beliefs. So where do we go? Where does the United States go? What goes on next? Well, what I want to do right now is I want to take a quick peek at Elon Musk and see what we can see. If this gives you any comfort, try as I might, I can't see Trump in office very long. Now, I don't know why he's not. I could hazard a few guesses, but I'm not going to do that because you guys are smart and you can probably hazard a few very similar guesses. But the greater concern in my mind is almost what happens next if he's not in office. And there are two ways to look at it. One is that Vance becomes president and he is controlled, frankly, by oligarchs. And he too will simply be a puppet. But the other thing is that as Musk and Trump sort of in cahoots try to keep destroying and bringing down the United States and its agencies, it's going to impact Republicans in the red states, in some cases more than in blue states. Now, there's some things that are across the board, right? He's trying to destroy. The latest one, my understanding, is the Board of Education, not the Board of Education, the agency that oversees public education. They just want to shut it down. That's going to infuriate parents. Then you have, the vets. They're going to get infuriated. So I think what's going to happen is it's not going to be a single issue, but it's going to be a series of missteps that are finally going to get a lot of people who voted for him going, oh my God, this can't continue. Now, unfortunately, as near as I can figure it, the United States does not have a quick way to get him out of office, unlike, Canada, called a non-confidence vote. And you can be gone really fast. That's not something that happens in the United States. And so it'll be interesting to see what unfolds. I actually also think that Musk is putting himself in a rather precarious situation. Trump was screaming about the fentanyl that was going into the United States from Canada. That amount of fentanyl is 0.02. That's how much of the total fentanyl that went into the state that came from Canada. But you know what comes into Canada? Guns. We have gun laws in this country, but we've got guns coming in from the States. Let's think about that for a moment, shall we? Here we go. Let's take a look at Elon Musk and what the hell is going on there. This afternoon, apparently, Trump met with Netanyahu and basically said that Palestinians need to leave Gaza. So, what a surprise, right? What a surprise. And, sorry, this is petty, but I can't help but wonder about all those people who weren't going to vote for Biden, weren't going to vote for Kamala because their stance wasn't strong enough. I wonder how they're feeling now. Here we go. Oh, before I forget. So this is going to be the third video that comes out this week. There was one on Monday called Fallout. One came out on Tuesday called Insane 2.0, and this one. So please put any questions for Friday in one of those comment sections. As of right now, unless, something crazy happens, I'm hoping to basically, not be doing another video until Pendulum Friday. So let's take a look, shall we? Elon Musk trajectory, Elon Musk trajectory, Elon Musk trajectory. The Treasury Department, the way I understand it, is very powerful, and it can control, the Treasury Department would have information about other agencies, certainly all the confidential information on citizens of the United States is now at the disposal of Musk and his little employees. There's a lot of words I was going to use, but again, fill in the blank. You guys are smart. Let's take a look at what's going on with Elon Musk. So let's just clarify this while I'm kind of looking at these cards. For anybody out there saying, well, why isn't he being arrested? Why isn't this? Why is this being allowed? The reason is very simple. Trump basically, fundamentally, for all intent and purposes, has complete control over the Department of Justice, over the FBI, over the CIA, over all of it, because the people that he's putting in there are his minions. They're his butt kissers. So unfortunately, as frightening as it is, you can turn to the courts, but not necessarily to law enforcement, because they're under his purview, his jurisdiction. Here we go. Elon Musk. Let's start with the Nine of Wands and the World. Okay. So what you have here is somebody who, I have to say, if we thought Trump had an outsized ego, energetically, Mr. Musk seems to have an even bigger one. And he likes being out in the public. He likes that attention, that adulation. But in some ways, he likes to kind of operate a little bit more quietly, a little bit more behind the scenes, because he can get away with stuff, bottom line. With the World here, it's talking about a couple things. It's talking about the fact that, he really wants to maneuver himself into a position where truly he ultimately has control of cities, of countries, okay? But he's doing it in a way so that he's not kind of the target, if you will. It's the leaders. It's the leaders that he basically it maneuvers into place, and then he has their ear. And in some cases, it's almost like he controls their thoughts and their mouth. So that's the thing with him. Even though we see him out and about, we need to always be very mindful of the fact that there's way more stuff going on quietly behind the scenes, or things he's working with. Is it going to come to an end for him? Yeah, it will. But I'm afraid to tell you, it looks like it may take a little bit of time. So what's happening is that between Trump and, Musk, they're simply creating imbalance everywhere. And this is the problem. When Trump was in office before, it was, he's just using that as a distraction. The problem now is that all of these crazy things he says, like, he means, and he has, oh, sorry, hang on. Sorry, I have the hardest time getting my damn phone to stop ringing when I want it to stop ringing. Anyways, here we go. We used to call it a distraction. What's going on now, though, is that we got so used to sort of Trump telling us stories that now we think he's still telling us stories. He's not. The things that he says, he means. And he has every intention of somehow figuring out how to disassemble literally the government of the United States. I'm not in a position to say that the government needs to be made bigger or smaller, or what should be done or how it should be done. I imagine there's a lot of people out there who think that maybe the government is a little overinflated. But that's not what he's trying to do. He's not trying to streamline it. He's trying to decimate it. And the way he's doing it, the way the two of them are doing it, is this. They're completely taking away any sense of balance, any idea of temperance, any idea of feeling sort of safe on the ground in which you stand. Everything feels like it's shifting and it's in motion. And the thing is that he has the ear, the eye, and the mouth of a man who's sitting in the Oval Office. And even though, slowly but surely, Trump is turning that office into a laughingstock globally, and frankly within his own country. The reality is he is very powerful. And so the people who have his ear are by extension very, very powerful. High Priestess, there's stuff going on. There's stuff going on behind the scenes that we don't know about yet, we haven't heard about yet. And I got to come up with it. Maybe I'll just call him EM. Maybe that. I don't want to keep saying his name. So EM. I hopefully I can remember that and stick to it. He, in many ways, is the keeper of secrets. And he has the technology, the ability to ferret out what he's looking for, what he's trying to do. And the fact that, you know what, he's in charge of an agency that doesn't actually technically exist, it doesn't matter. There's nobody who's going to rein him in. So the thing is, there's a need to be very, very mindful and pay attention to what he's doing. It's also very important that, you know, even as hard as it is and as frustrating as it is, there's going to come a time where this is like an accumulative thing. Okay, it's not just that there's going to be one thing that sets off the whole country. It's going to be 20 things that sets off 20 different groups or categories within the country. And that's ultimately going to be what creates sort of it's like somebody slams the brakes. It's not, I wish I could say the downfall, but that's not what it feels like. It feels more like it's going to cause roadblocks to start going up, gates and fences going up. So he will find the two of them will, 47 and Elon. Maybe we'll call him 45 because we're not really sure that he deserves the 47 title. Okay. Between the two of them, they're going to create so much havoc that ultimately, members of Congress they're going to start screaming because all they're hearing from their constituents is screaming. Every day, call them. Every day, call the White House, call your senator, call your representative, call your governor. You need to make your voices heard. And right now, that is the most powerful way you can do it. Listen, they're going to try to steal whatever they want, and they have absolutely no intentions of being politically correct, of being diplomatic, or playing by any of the established rules. But it is going to be the power of the people, the voice of the people, that ultimately is going to create the energy that's going to start slowing things down and as I said, hitting the brakes, putting up fences and gates. It's the people that have to do this. Okay. Even though a whole bunch of you, in fact, probably all of you, didn't vote for what's in the office, didn't vote for any of what's going on right now. Enough, unfortunately, people did, and enough stuff was done to the vote so that you now have what you now have. But it will be the voice of the people that ultimately slow it down. And what's really interesting is it's just not going to be Democrats. It's not going to be independents. It's going to be Republicans. It's even going to be MAGAs who are going to start adding their voices to the roar that will be heard. It's like nobody believed him. He said, I'm going to absolutely decimate unions. And then what happens? Police forces all over the country voted for him, saying, oh, we don't really believe he would actually do it. Trust me, listen to him. but it'll be the people. Ultimately, these two are going to end up in a hangman position. They're going to be stopped. They're going to be slowed down. I think EM may very well, at some point, feel the Treasury door, the White House door, the government door hit him in the ass on the way out. At some point, he is going to push so hard and so fast in the wrong direction. He's going to find that his tactics don't work. They didn't work when he did it with Twitter. What on earth makes him think it's going to work with the entire population of the United States? He's not used to scrutiny. That's the thing about him, right? Private. He does private business, private this. He's not used to people actually monitoring what he's doing. And as long as there can be that kind of monitoring, and, honestly, you're going to have to be looking at the independent press, and you're going to have to be looking at whistleblowers. Because stuff is going to start coming out. And that exposure is going to put him in a far more precarious position than we sort of think is possible. I mean, we know what happens when 45 feels like, somebody is getting more attention than him. Should I ban him? So what you've got here is a situation where he's going to defy norms for as long as he can get away with it. But at some point, it's going to end up being his downfall. And he's going to be the one who has anxiety over it, who loses sleep over it, frankly, who has nightmares over it. Because there will be a recognition that the game they are playing will not hold, because the people will not allow it to hold. But the caveat is, and please don't forget this, it's the power of the people that will stop it and sort of get it to change course. There's nobody now who can sit out quietly. There just isn't, because enough manipulation went on that got him there. And you know what? And some of it was like voting stuff. Some of it, though, was flat out just mismanagement and gaslighting. And people just voting Republican because they're Republican, two, voting for him because they liked the show, they thought he was entertaining, voting for him because they didn't believe what he said. It's going to have to be the people that pushes back. EM, he's going to find himself not being able to complete the job. He's got like some really interesting, I guess, long-term plans. It's not going to work for him. Okay. Ultimately, he is going to be, I don't even want to use the words held to account, because it doesn't feel that way. It feels more like just removed. Stop. As more and more stuff comes out from behind the scenes, you're going to see that attitude of, I am emperor of the world, we're going to do it my way, that's going to start to dissipate. But again, it's about what people will do to encourage that. All right. This is the thing about his energy that's sort of interesting. It's not evil the way we think of evil. It's not evil the way we think of 45, right? And his sort of, the crueler it is, the happier he is. It's not like that with him. It's just this overarching sense of entitlement that he has, that he should just simply be able to do this. He put so much emphasis on the fact that he is called the richest man in the world, and the sense of entitlement that he carries with him. And what happens very often is the people around him just capitulate; they just back off. But I'm not saying what he does isn't evil, but I'm saying internally, it's not really evil as much as it is a sense of entitlement, a sense of he should have this, he wants this, and he's going to get it. So at some point, justice will roll around. At some point, things are going to end up coming to a close. I wish with all of my heart that I could tell you what that looks like. I don't think I'm alone when I say that many readers can't see 45 in office for the entire term. I wish I could tell you how that happened, when it will happen, and what's going to happen after that, and I can't. And for that, I'm sorry. But we will continue to monitor the situation, and I guess the overarching message is don't get mad, don't get frustrated, figure out what you can do to add your voice to the roar. And that's how loud it has to be. It is like the citizens, the people of the United States need to roar. That's going to be what gets their attention. That's going to be ultimately what will cause the Congress people to start reacting and to start standing up. But it's got to be loud and it's got to be consistent. Don't lose hope. Don't lose faith. I think my new tagline for the next little while is going to, I said it in the last two videos, and I apparently I'm going to end with it this time too. Remember, the higher they climb, the harder the fall. And sometimes those falls can do a lot of damage. Sometimes they can prove fatal. But one way or another, there is the energy of that power being sort of kicked off its throne, if you will. Thank you so very much for being here, hanging in there with me. For all of you who have apologized on behalf of the United States, thank you. But you know what? Honestly, it's just not necessary. It's not you guys. We know who it is. Canadians aren't dumb, and we pay attention. We know exactly where it's coming from. And trust me, we know it's not coming from our brothers, sisters, neighbors, friends to the south of us. So I appreciate your apologies, but truly, it's not necessary. We get it. We know where it's coming from. All right. Hopefully, the next time I see you, it'll be Pendulum Friday. Until then, please take care and be well. Bye for now.